What's up, everyone? So this is going to be pitching tips for MLB The Show 23. I'll go through the different pitching styles, the settings you can change, and the camera angles, and I'll show you in the practice mode, the pitcher's attributes and how they affect the pitching methods, and then I'll hop into a game against the computer to show you some strategies against pitching in game. So let's get into it. So I have another camera on my controller here so I can go over the pinpoint pitching and some other aspects, and just so you can see what I'm doing with the controller and my hands here. The other thing I want you to keep in mind is the feedback in the bottom left corner of the screen. Right now I'm in practice mode, so when you're on the home page of the game, you can scroll down, just hit the down on the D-pad, and you'll find practice mode, and then you're going to want to change the practice type to pitching. So I'll start out with the settings. I do pinpoint pitching. However, I have played with meter pitching my entire MLB The Show career. I've made World Series by pitching with the meter selection, which isn't even the best method of pitching. So it just goes to show you can pitch with any type of settings if you get comfortable with it enough. That's all it's about. I will say pinpoint pitching seems to be the most rewarding type of pitching style and the most forgiving. So I really recommend that you try it. And you try to struggle through it for a couple games to try to get used to it. It took a lot quicker than I thought to get used to pinpoint pitching when you first try it. It seems like a foreign language to you, and then by like the second game and like halfway through, a couple innings in, you already got the hang of it. And you'll see what I mean by rewarding. You can miss your spots a little bit with the pinpoint, and it'll still get in the general area if your pitcher has a good overall rating. And then I'll go into the pitcher's control rating and how that plays a factor in where the pitch ends up. So in the settings, when you go to offense, hit R2, and then go to defense. Or if you're on Xbox, whatever it is, RT, I don't know. Chevron is... Hold on, let me start out. So I'll start out with meter. Meter is the pitching style. There's pinpoint, pulse pitching, pure analog, classic, and then meter. So I'll start out with meter. This is what I used for a long time. I don't use it anymore. And then the pitching ball marker is just basically going to show you break on the ball. So it'll be more apparent when you're throwing breaking balls and off-speed pitches. I'll show you what that looks like. I use pitch trail. What that basically means is you're going to see the path that the ball is taking from when the pitcher releases the ball to the strike zone, and you're going to see that until he releases it. If you do pitch trail fade, you'll see that path basically when you select the pitch, but then it'll fade out before when you start your windup and before he throws the ball. Chevron will actually show you arrows of where the pitch is breaking. I like it. I used it for a while, but now I use the pitch trail. It doesn't really make a huge difference, but it's kind of preference what you like seeing. I'm on, I think, All-Star or I'm on Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame difficulty is the second hardest difficulty. So if you're playing online and you start getting better, the pitching meter will move faster, and it'll be less rewarding for when you miss the meter. And I'll show you what that means. Meter is pretty simple. So you don't really have to do anything with the analog stick except for move it to where you want to throw the pitch. So when I select a pitch, right, you select your pitch out of your repertoire with the buttons on the right. I'm throwing a fastball here. I can move it around. And meter is simple. There's a meter above the strike zone, and you're going to hit X, or what is it, B or A? I don't know, for Xbox or Nintendo, to start the windup, and then it's going to start the meter. There's a zone in the meter that moves from yellow to red. You're going to basically click 3 times. You click once to start the windup, a second time to determine the velocity of the pitch, from what I know, and then the meter is going to hit the end and then move all the way back, and then you're going to try to hit this line on the meter, and that's your pitch release. You want to try to hit the line every time, and I'll explain sometimes why you don't always need to hit the line and still make a pretty good pitch. So my fastball, I'm going to start the pitch by hitting X. All right, I want to throw this as hard as I can. All right, and then I was late on that. So the good thing is when you do this, you can kind of tailor your pitches to, you can give yourself a little pitch forgiveness. So let's say I want to throw a knuckle curve, right? And then you see the arrows there, that's the break on the ball. the ball really will start visually to the batter where the ball is right now, and then it'll end up where this sort of light, like charcoal circle is. It's kind of transparent, so you can kind of see through it. But that's the general area where it should end up. That little black circle, you want it to be as small as possible. The higher rating that the pitcher has on his overall rating, the smaller that circle will be. Or it depends on the pitch type as well. Sometimes some pitches for some pitchers have better control than others, and just like in real life. So the circle on the fastball will be a lot smaller than the breaking ball. Right? He can control the fastball better. And I'll show you how you can view that in the player's card on the home screen. So I'm going to throw this knuckle curve. Now, yes, I want to make sure the meter ends up right on the line so I throw a perfect pitch. But now let's say I'm in, it's a 1-2 count. I could afford to throw another ball. And I just want to make sure, no matter what, this doesn't become a hanging curveball in the zone that the batter can crush. I want it to end up in this low corner, but at the very least, I don't want it to end up anywhere right here for a hanging curveball that's easy to see and easy to hit. So I may mentally prepare myself to land past the meter. All right, let it come back and go past the meter a little bit and have a late release. I want to have a perfect release, but if I do it late, at least it'll end up in the dirt and not in the zone, which is what I want. So I'm going to move it to right here, try to get in the zone, and then I'll show you if I end up a little late on it. That was a good pitch, so it ended up right where I want it. But if I purposely try to do a little late, it ends up in the dirt. All right, now if I do that a little bit early, it ends up right down the middle. All right, so you can kind of, that's the one thing I like about meter pitching is, let's just say you're not having a good day with your release point. You can at least favor one side. I want this to be late so it ends up in the dirt. I don't want to change up right down the middle. And then it's different for different pitches. I want this fastball up here in the zone, but at the very least, I don't want it right down the middle. So I may release a little bit early, and it might go above the zone, like an early release, or it might stay inside the zone. And you can kind of use that as a strategy, just to avoid giving up home runs and big hits. Okay, so the velocity, you have the red. You might think you want to throw the highest velocity every time, although it does drain the pitcher's energy a little bit more. But I think it's usually worth it if it helps you get a better release, if you just kind of prepare yourself to have that timing mechanism. Like the meter moves back at the same speed every time, but it'll move forward faster with higher difficulty. And if you have a timing mechanism for yourself where you want it to go all the way to the back to the highest velocity, then just stick with that if it's working. So I'm going to press it again, and that's good. Now, if I don't press the meter the second time at all, and I just press it once to start the windup, I take my hands off, I wait, it will come back to the lowest velocity possible. All right. So that's meter pitching. It's pretty simple. Like I said, I was very comfortable with it for a while. Once I started playing more on Hall of Fame and Legend against some really good players, I kind of realized I had to use a more rewarding system, and I'll show you what that is. This is the system I use now. It's going to be Pinpoint. All right, Pinpoint, and then my setting for this is Pitch Trail, so I get to show you what that looks like now. Pinpoint's pretty cool. It's a cool concept, very hard to learn, but you can learn it very quickly. It's weird. It's like you pick it up quickly, but it's very hard at the very start. So you basically follow the pitch trail that it shows you on this little circle above the strike zone, and it'll actually show you the pace that you need to follow that too. Once you get used to this and learn it, you really don't need to pay attention to that much because it's kind of just natural to you about when you need to move the analog stick, and then this will just be muscle memory. It really is. So I'm going to throw this cutter, and it's telling me I need to move the right analog stick over to my left and then circle up around to the right. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. And I'm just using the left analog stick to locate the pitch. You will need to hold it in spot, so you need to use both. So if I want to go up and away with this cutter and keep it in the zone, I move the left analog stick up there and hold it, and then I start my motion with the right. All right, and then that's how it's done. But the second part is releasing the pitch. So you want to get the path down, of course. Fastballs are straight fastballs, four seams are always straight up and down. It's pretty easy. You just go down, up. It's forgiving on the accuracy, and then down again. Pay attention to the circles in the little demonstration that shows you at the top. So when you start the motion, there's going to be two circles. One at the top of the pitch. All right. It's going to open, and then it's going to start to close. You want to time it so that you reach that circle with your right analog stick, right? I'm reaching it. Oh, I just started that. So that was pretty bad, but it still ended up in the zone. I'm going to reach that top circle when it hits the smaller circle. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of circles going on here, but there's a small circle at the top. And then when you start the pitch, it kind of expands, and there's another small circle inside of it. It's going to expand and then come back to that small circle. When it becomes concurrent with that small circle, that's when you want to meet that circle, right? And you kind of want to do it in a nice, smooth pace, not like start the pitch and then wait till it closes and then go there fast. You'll still get a bad accuracy wind up, I guess, penalty for that. And it'll show you the percentage of the accuracy in which you completed that path in the feedback next to the circle at the top. All right, and then the bottom circle, the release point, is going to show you the same thing. It's going to show you a big circle, or it's going to show you a blue circle, and then it's going to expand, and then there's another blue circle inside that'll stay there. And when that other circle expands and comes back, you want to meet that circle when it becomes concurrent with it. Pay attention to the feedback. It's very important. All right. When I first started doing this, I was releasing the ball very early, a lot, and I had to wait a little bit longer for that circle to get there. On the release, you can get away with just snapping to it. On the pitch trail, or I guess the pitch path that you're taking, you do want to make it steady. So it's steady until you hit that top circle, and then you do want to snap until the release point. And I'll show you what that means. So I'm going to go down, up, meet that circle, and then down. All right. And then you see in the feedback, I was late with the release. That's fine. I want it to be a little bit late so it got down in the zone. Now I want to do a perfect release here so I can throw a strike with this sinker. So go down, follow the path, meet that circle. All right, that time I was a little bit early, and on the release, I ended up a little bit left. So it'll show you the angle of how much you missed that circle. It's very hard to get like perfect timing on the path, perfect timing on the release, and then a perfect spot location on that bottom circle. But the more you do this, the better you get. And what I mean by this being forgiving is, although it's hard to get perfect on all three of those elements in this pinpoint style of pitching, it will still, you'll see it ends up pretty much in the same spot that you try to throw it in. All right. When you want to dot batters up, you're going to have to get better at it and try to get perfect. But like I said, it's pretty rewarding and forgiving. So I'm going to throw this fastball up here, down, up, 100% accuracy there. All right, and then my pitch release was perfect timing. I was 0 seconds off, 0.0 seconds off on the release of trying to meet that circle at the bottom. However, the right analog stick ended up a little bit left of where I was supposed to make it, so I ended up throwing a ball inside. It's a good chance that a batter still might try to swing at that and jam him up. We'll get into the strategy of that later. Circle changes are usually the hardest, but can be the most effective pitches once you learn how to do it. You got to go slow, but keep steady. All right, so it told me that I was too slow on the right analog stick to meet that top circle. So let me try that again. It was a little bit better. Do a cutter here. Ugh. So you kind of get the point. when that path becomes all green, it means you had a good pace in reaching that top circle. So that one was perfect. Late, but I ended up with 0 degrees off. So that was almost perfect. And it still ended up right where I wanted it. So it's pretty good. I really recommend trying this, getting used to it, and it's pretty much the only pitching method I use now. I never switch it up. All right, and then the other ones, I'll be honest, I've used them a couple times just to try them, but I really am not a huge fan of them. I'm going to keep the pitch trail on and do pulse pitching now. And when you do these, it'll show you, usually shows you the description at the top there. So like if I get back to Pinpoint, L for left analog stick for general location, right analog stick inputs to influence deliver pitch. And then it just says that for all of them. So it doesn't really tell you how to do it, but that's kind of the point of this video. All right, pulse pitching's kind of fun, I think, but I think it's pretty difficult. Look, when you select the pitch, it's the same concept as Pinpoint with the circle meeting it at a concurrent spot with the inner circle to try to get a perfect release. But it's just so visually, like, I have pretty good eyes, and even I think this is it's just baffling to me that the people actually use this and have success with it. But basically, you're gonna start. You're not gonna. Oh, so I remember this differently from last year. You can tell I don't use this at all. The circle, the big circle that's bouncing around, you just gotta meet it at the smallest point that it's at. So it gets big, small, big, small. You just want to time it so that you click the button at the very smallest point. You only click it once. Click once and it'll throw the pitch, and then you can take your hand off the controller. So I want to go up here. It's like a trampoline. This just makes me like, it's like hypnotic. Now that was good, but like I had to focus so hard just to throw that pitch, and if I have to do that for all of them, it's gonna be tough. You see, like I can't even. I have to focus so hard that I can't even talk during the time that I'm throwing this pitch. Man, it still gives you feedback. It just says it was good, and that ended up where I wanted. But those 3 pitches, like I had to hold my breath just to throw those. So I really don't like Pinpoint, or sorry, I don't like pulse pitching, at all. So let's go to pure analog. This is pretty cool. Again, I think this is the one that's fun. Alright, so for this one, you move the left analog stick to select location in the zone where you want to throw it. We're out of the zone, and then it'll show you the circle at the top of the meter that's moving as well. When you find the spot you want, you're going to move the right analog stick down. Alright, and then when it hits this yellow, there's a little yellow horizontal line on that meter. When you reach that, you're going to snap it back up to where the circle is in the meter and try to meet it up with that. All right, so I find this difficult just because you're snapping up instead of down. I just find it easier with Pinpoint. You're always snapping down. The release point is somewhere below this, below the equator of the right analog stick. This one's always going to be above it. All right, and I just find it easier to snap down. I feel like I have more control. So it's saying I'm just late, so it looks like the bottom of the little baseball icon in the meter, once it reaches that, you're going to want to go up. That was a little early, but it seems like it reaches that yellow horizontal line a lot quicker than it seems. That was good. It's not bad. A lot of players actually use this, and a lot of top players use this method too. I think they just got really good at it, and they got more comfortable with snapping up. They're probably good at both, let's be honest. If they're just good at the game, they're good at the game, they can do a lot of things. I'm not a huge fan of it, but this could work for you. I would definitely recommend trying it, and it might be your style. So that ended up right where I wanted, even though I was early on the path. So this method is a little bit rewarding and forgiving. But like I said, I just find it harder to snap up with the right analog stick than down. So I don't use that one. Okay, so that was pure analog, and then last one is classic. So this one, you just select where you want to throw it, and then you click the button. You don't have a lot of control over where it ends up. You just gotta hope that the pitcher has a high overall rating and good control, and otherwise you're kind of screwed after you release the pitch. I don't recommend this if you're gonna play online and be competitive. Even against the computer, it would be pretty frustrating to not really know where your pitch is gonna end up. You obviously want it to end up in a good spot, but this classic mode doesn't give you a whole lot of ability to change where the path of the ball is going to end up. All right, so that's the different pitching methods. Cameras, I like to use the same camera that I use for hitting. Just mess around, see what you like. It's all preference with the camera. All right, turns out you can't toggle the pitch attributes in the game. So if you go to your squad, you can click triangle and then, or Y, I guess, and view the pitch attributes control by clicking the right analog stick. And then pitch velocity in the top right will change to pitch control. So this will show you what the pitcher has best control of in his pitch repertoire. He has the best control of his fastball, his sliders second, and he has decent control of his circle change as well. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you want to see me do more tip videos, please let me know. Drop in the comments, like and subscribe. And if you guys have any tips on pitching that I did not point out in this video, or anything that I may have messed up in the video that was not accurate, please let me know. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.